Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Miranda. Nice to see you again. Today's video was actually requested by a subscriber, so yay! Thank you for the suggestion. They asked me if I could talk about my experience quarantining in Korea. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Quarantine in Korea. Let's go. Forgive the lighting, it's very cloudy outside today, and I have no clue what this piece of hair is doing, but we're just gonna work with her. We're just gonna do the best that we can. If you missed my last video about how I moved to South Korea, I mentioned that I work at a Hagwon, which is a private English academy. I'm really thankful that I didn't really have to pay much for my quarantine because I got to quarantine in the apartment that I was going to be living in, that the school provided me. Your two options basically of when you arrive are either you're going to quarantine in your apartment that your school has provided you, or if your apartment is not ready in time, the new teacher is still living there or something like that, then you're gonna be in a hotel, which is like a specified hotel that the government will put you in. If you stay in a hotel, you're probably gonna have to pay for it by yourself. I can't say for sure, but that's what I've read online in most cases, is that the school is gonna have you pay for the hotel. I'm really thankful that I was able to just quarantine in my apartment. It gave me a chance to settle into where I was gonna be living, decorate a little bit, because I could order stuff online. All I had to pay for were my groceries that I had requested the school put in the apartment for when I arrived, which I think ended up total for everything I had to order to get through the 2 weeks, I think was about $200, which was just taken out of my first paycheck that I got later. My school was really, really nice also, and even got me a couple things for my cat to get him kind of started out. Before I did order a bunch of stuff like as soon as I arrived, but it was really nice to have some groceries and some cat food waiting for me. And I also got some things I didn't even ask for, like house slippers and towels and things like that, which was really nice. The actual process of quarantining, this is how it went for me. So I had to get COVID tested 72 hours within my flight leaving the US. So I got tested at the airport that I was gonna be leaving out of, and I got my results within 24 hours. I had to pay a bunch of extra money to get it within 24 hours, but I just wanted to make sure that I had it on time. Once I had my negative test result, I was good to go to Korea, so I got on my plane, came to Korea, landed in Seoul, and then began the true process. After I got my negative test result, I was good to go to Korea, and I flew out a couple days later and arrived in Seoul. And then the process really began. After you get off the plane, you have to stand in this really long line waiting to get your temperature checked and then get like your passport checked and all that stuff. So it took, I think, about an hour waiting in that line to get up to the front. I was so ready to get out of there and move on to the next step because I could see how many more like stations there were after that. So I tried the whole time to stay as like chill and calm and cool as I could, because I did not want my temperature to spike when I went through, just because I've been standing in this hot line with like bags and jacket for like an hour with my cat also. But of course, I got to the front of the line, they checked my temperature, there I am standing with my big tote bag, my cat over one shoulder, my jacket. I just want to get out of there, and my temperature had slightly spiked. So I got pulled out of line into another line where they're gonna check you again. I had to wear this really like embarrassing badge that basically said that I had a spiked temperature. And you had to get in line and wait again to get checked again. So I think I waited another half hour, 45 minutes probably in this line. And there weren't that many people, but there was maybe maybe like 10, 12 of us in this line. But I did notice the longer and longer I was there, I kept like checking behind me, and like more and more people were getting added to this line. So definitely, I think a lot of people's temperatures were just spiking because you're stuck in a hot airport with hundreds of other people and bags and all this stuff, and you're stressed out. So anyway, I feel like she needs a name. She has a whole identity. Once you get to the front of the line, there are Korean health officials who will have you like sit and wait until one of them is free, and then you go up, and I had to give them a bunch of like health information of like, have I had any symptoms, where am I coming from, show them my ID again, have them check my temperature like 2 more times. Thankfully by then I think it had started to come back down, so they let me go, thank goodness. Because the alternative of if I had been not allowed to leave the airport was I would have been sent to a government hotel to quarantine probably. My cat would have not been allowed to come with me, and someone from my school would have had to come and pick him up, which I'm sure they would have. They said that they would if that happened, but I was really hoping that would not happen to us. So thankfully I was cleared, good to go. So then you get into another line, and this is where they call your contact who is in Korea. So I flew Korean Air, and you had to have a contact within Korea to kind of vouch for you, of like you're going where you say you're going and that kind of thing. Once you get up to the front of this line, another official calls the number that you gave them, and you're just sitting there like, please answer the phone. So he called the number that I'd given them, which was for my principal, and she picked up, and I was let through. Once you get through this line, there's 2 lines, and it's either foreigners or Korean nationals. So I had to get into the foreigners line, which was surprisingly long actually. I guess there's still plenty of people coming for teaching and military and that kind of stuff. I honestly, it was such a blur. I was so tired. I don't even remember what they asked me at this location. I think they just asked for my passport again and my visa. After that, you had to go through one more section where I believe they did like a facial scan, maybe fingerprints, I can't really remember. Then you can pick up all your bags. So they have like a big map obviously and shows you where your luggage is. So I had to get this little trolley and put all of my bags on it because I brought like 10,000 bags it felt like. So I had my 2 suitcases, my 2 giant duffel bags, my tote bag, my coat, my cat carrier, all of this like piled precariously high on this little trolley, and I was like pushing it around the airport. Then once you have all your stuff, you had to go through like a brief like customs thing where you had to like, you'd filled this thing out on the plane of like what you were declaring. So I had to declare that like I had a live animal, my cat, that I was bringing into the country, and you have to like give them your slip, and they didn't have any questions for me, so they just kind of, I just went on my way. After that, you make it out to kind of like the main area of the airport where like taxi drivers and stuff are waiting. So all of this happened super quickly. There was literally like a Korean official who asked me kind of like where I was going, and looked at my passport, my visa really quick, and he asked me like, are you taking a bus or a taxi? And I was like, I need a taxi. So this last official directed me down to like the taxi waiting area, which was just, I was so confused honestly, because it was just like this little like podium that you signed in at, and then there was like 20 just kind of middle-aged Korean guys waiting around. So I like signed in to the little waiting area, and I thought I was gonna have to wait a minute, but literally they were just like, do you need a taxi? And I was like, yeah, I do. And they were like, this one guy just shot up and was like, all right, let's go, like, come on, let's go. And he like was grabbing my bags and was like, let's go. So I was like showing him the address of where I needed to go, but also I was trying to explain that I had to go to the health center. But so upon arrival also, within like I think 24 hours of your arrival, you have to get COVID checked when you get there also. And so I think you can get dropped off at your apartment and like then go, but my school just wanted me to go directly from the airport to the testing site and then get dropped off at my apartment, because the taxis are actually specifically for people who are gonna have to quarantine. So like they don't take any normal passengers, they're just taking people like to and from the airport and to and from testing sites. And so they'll actually wait for you outside of the testing site until you get tested and then take you back to wherever you're staying. By the time I got out of the last checkpoint, I think it was about 3 hours after I'd landed. It was about 8 in the morning. And the testing sites don't usually open until like 9. But it wasn't gonna take that long to get there, and so I had been told to just kind of like wait at the airport for a little while and then leave. But like this taxi driver was not having any of it. He was like, let's go. So I was trying to explain to him that like I need to be at this testing site and then go to this address. But there was kind of like some miscommunications, and he ended up taking me to the apartment first, and I had to have my principal call him and kind of explain the situation. So thankfully he was super nice, and he took me to the testing site, which was just like a 5-minute drive away from the apartment. And so he sat in like the taxi while it was running, and my cat was just chilling in his little bag in the taxi with all my bags, and I hopped out and went and got tested, and I think I was in and out in about 20 minutes or so. You just have to like fill out some paperwork, and then they call your number, you get tested, and then you're done, and they'll text you the results within like 24 hours. So the taxi guy just waited for me, and then I hopped back in, and he took me back to my apartment where my principal was waiting to pay him and help me get all my bags up to my apartment. So she was there waiting for me when I got there and helped me get all my bags up to the like 4th floor, and then very quickly left and was like, let me know if you need anything. And yeah, then my quarantine started. I had to be in quarantine for 14 days. The health center sent me my results by like the next morning, I think. And then they also drop off like hand sanitizer, masks, and like cleaning supplies to your apartment. Like I think within about 2 or 3 days of you arriving. And then I just watched a lot of Netflix, ordered a lot of takeout, kind of ordered a bunch of stuff to start setting up my apartment, because I could get things delivered as long as it was like a contactless delivery. I spent the 14 days mainly just calling friends and family, ordering a lot of takeout, and watching a lot of Netflix, and trying to practice my Korean a bit by watching K-dramas. The last step is the day before you are free, you have to go get tested one more time. So same situation, taxi picks you up, takes you to the health center, waits for you while you get tested, brings you straight back, and then the next morning I had the results, and then by noon you can leave. You are officially free. The first week was like easy breezy. By about the 8th or 9th day, I was like done. I was so fed up with quarantine. Just cause like you've traveled all this way, you're so excited. I just wanted to go out and explore, and you're just stuck inside, so it kind of sucks. But I would say by about like day 10, I was like, okay, like I can see the end. I've almost made it. And before I knew it, it was over. I was done, and I could go explore all I wanted. And that was my experience quarantining in Korea. It wasn't too bad. Things were very efficient and quick. Every day that I was in quarantine, I had to input my temperature in the morning and in the evening, and if you forgot, it reminded you. It scared me so bad a couple times, because if you forget, the app like starts like beeping at you really loudly until you like open it and put your temperature in. It's kind of terrifying. So you have your app that you put your temperature in morning and evening for the 14 days, and then you're also paired with a health official who is just kind of there to answer any questions, help you out during the process. And she was super nice, super helpful, and I could just text her if I ever had any issues or anything, or any questions. So yeah, that was my experience with quarantine. Wasn't too bad. Got a bit stir crazy, but overall it was totally fine. So we'll just have to see if any of the policies change, or if quarantine is eventually removed once enough people have been vaccinated. But this was how the process was as of February, so about 3 months ago. I hope this answered all the questions that you had. If you have any more, feel free to leave a comment down below, or if you have any other video ideas that you'd like to see, like this one today, feel free to leave a comment of that too, and I will check it out. So I hope this was entertaining and informative and answered all your questions. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for more South Korea content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.